Welcome back, everyone, to the Rally Cry halftime show. I'm Mazel, joined by Magical and Joshi after an incredible first start to a game for FlyFam, but Dignitas, they definitely closed it out very strong to finish it out, and kind of what we expected at this point, Joshi.
Yeah, parts of it. Definitely the second half was a little bit closer to what we were expecting, right? The first part.
The first half, they had them for like 25 minutes of a 27-minute game.
Yeah, it definitely felt as though it felt like the old Dignitas, right? Who was it who said they were winning until they lost? Is basically how that game went, right? And then FlyFam, one single mistake. You always got to look at the structure, especially around the Barons. Are you hitting it to turn? Are you hitting it to burn? What's the plan when the opponents actually contest? It doesn't look like FlyFam did that, but they did almost everything else correct throughout the course of this game. So props to them for a strong early game.
Kind of what happened to every young team, right? You have a young team, even if players have had some experience, it's not as experienced as players like Diamond, Insanity, Hoon, who have had a lot more experience than them. So sometimes you just make those small mistakes, you just didn't set it perfectly, and a team that have a lot of experience, like Dignitas Challenge, know exactly how to exploit it.
They really do, and that was the crucial point, is a lot of the decision-making was just there for Dignitas. Now, we did get to cover a little bit of what Game 1 had it for us. We'll come back and figure out what has Game 2 in store for us, I guess, what Game 2 has in store for us. Now, I do want to get to a little bit of fun here, though, because we are in our halftime show. And, we have our LCS Challengers.
Show?
But I also like to say that Art is challenging. It's because I'm challenging Art.
What kind of halftime show are we in, Lennon?
What kind of halftime show?
It's Art is challenging.
No, what kind of halftime show?
Rally Cry halftime show.
There you go.
I said that.
No, you didn't.
I literally did. Go check the VODs. I literally said the Rally Cry halftime show.
I don't know where he did that. I don't know.
Somebody clip it and send it to me. I'll baste it all over these guys all day long. Now, anyways, we got our first drawings. I've come up with 4 beautiful artistic drawings to represent a little bit of this first game of the series that we did have. Now, I will say, trying to make this anime themed, it did not work in the artistry. I'm not a good drawer in the first place.
Did you not just go to the bookstore and there's a books on how to draw anime?
I don't have time for that. So our first drawing here, let's see if you catch the representation, as a big monster has come to town. And while it doesn't represent the skin that he chose, the drawing is beautiful, isn't it?
I thought we weren't allowed to leak visual updates that are coming to Champions.
That's the real visual update we needed.
I just want to make sure you drew this during the game.
I did draw this during the game.
Okay, that's actually kind of impressive.
Yeah. Now, I can't draw on your screen, but the furthest left guy with the 2 exclamation marks, it kind of looks like those are eyes and eyebrows, and his head looks like a mouth. I can't unsee that every time I look at it.
No, I can't unsee that now.
Yeah, I can't unsee that now.
Worse, because it doesn't even look like a regular face. It looks like a dog's face.
So, jeez. So the reason why I chose this, obviously, it was really funny, the giant monster, but it is APA picking up the Cho'Gath in the mid lane and providing a point of pressure. It felt like not APA, rather.
He did that yesterday.
Exactly. Having that recollection there, but especially the way that we saw them kind of pick apart the draft with the Cho'Gath was huge. Now, I do want to go on to our second photo here, as it maybe has a little bit less artistry tied to it. We'll see if it happens. So, into the anime arc, we got the solo bolo, and I just had to give Hoon some love. Give Insanity some love on the Cho'Gath. Give Hoon some love on the Cassante.
Can you do your best Super Saiyan for me?
Me? You can't.
The
That's okay. Even
like that.
further beyond.
Does that sound like Hoon?
I don't know. I don't know what Hoon's voice sounds like. I don't know.
He's very soft spoken.
It's probably just I did it. I got it.
Finally did.
The man gets the 25th solo kill here on the day. I actually did check afterwards if he had gotten another one during one of the team fights, but he got the one that mattered on the 25. So that's all good and well. Now we got to look at our FlyFam edition as the Gobble 'em Up strat. was working out for a little bit, at least. Beautiful catfish here, by the way. Thank you so much to the artist. And, FlyFam, we're sitting pretty.
Are you the artist?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did draw.
Okay.
You're complimenting yourself.
Thank you to me.
Thank you.
Okay.
For the great work I've done today.
Yeah,
Okay.
Everyone praise the work I have done, because I am the one who made this art. I will say it looks more like a toad than a catfish.
Yeah, be somewhere in between.
Somewhere in between.
I don't know
But
what you're talking about. That's full catfish potential right there. You see the whiskers down there?
Yeah,
at
that's
the
what I
bottom?
put on my Tinder profile too.
Whoa.
But I am very entertained
about
here. Is that is that Blaze or is that Instinct who's currently in the mouth?
It's everybody at that point.
Everybody.
You know?
I think you should have just put Blaze in there, because it's like
That was the big one. That was the big one.
the big one. But I was more seeing the team value. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what I wanted to make the eyes. I'm not gonna lie. They ended up really bad anyways. But FlyFam, try to use the strat with the Senatom Kench. I like that. We have seen a rise in Predator, especially with the new patch. So I wanted to highlight that a little bit. It did look good in the first half at least. Now our final picture. It's our anime arc hero. It's probably the worst one out of all of them.
Is that Talia?
It's not Talia. He's got a little thing on his wrist, okay? It is the Mystic Shots that started raiding from the spawn. And his Ezreal kind of popping off in the later part of the game.
True. Can you overlay this with the Cho'Gath one, potentially? Because I think, that could be
I can just switch between them really fast. Let's see.
Oh, the animation, the production value coming through.
Pew, 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 pew. And then the gobble. And then a solo kill comes to top.
Yeah, that also happened.
And then back and forth, and back and forth, and back and forth.
Even though
it's the anime episode you've always wanted.
Yeah, it's like we're just jump cuts really quickly between all the different scenes really quick. It doesn't.
Which one's your favorite? Which one can I go back to the artist and be like, hey, this one is okay.
Yeah, honestly, the Tinder profile is probably the best one.
The Tinder profile. Oh my goodness.
Gosh, no wonder you're single.
Gracious. We'll have to check your Tinder profile here. But that was artist.
Yeah, I'm actually the only single one in this broadcast.
Oh no!
Damn it!
I know that's why I was able to make fun of him.
Not on the other broadcasts. I would fit in there.
We were not calling you out or anything, okay? But maybe you did. But I do want to focus back in because obviously we have to think about how this next setup is going to be for FlyFam. If there is going to be a kind of comeback here and how they adapt maybe some of that early base. They had 3 kills over Dignitas early to get that into the late game. Magical.
Lights are changing color.
Not intentionally.
Okay. I just looked over. I'm like, whoa, what's going on over there?
It's coming changing lights again. I know.
All right, but as I was going to say, honestly, FlyFam's comp, I didn't have any issues with it. It was literally just how they played that Baron fight that sadly cost them the game. It was one of those mistakes that against any other team might not have been exploited as much, but you're playing against Dignitas Challengers, a team that, as Josh put a bet on, were expected to be a top team to begin with. Unfortunately, just not the #1 seed. They got the #2. And so FlyFam, as long as they clean that up, I think they can take a game off of Dignitas Challengers and get us into Game 3.
Yeah, we do have to pay attention to whether or not XU will make the same kind of blunders early on in the game, right? Because they allowed Blaze to move down. Diamond lost a flash. XU lost a flash and died.
Yep.
And then neither of them had it when they actually started up the Dragon just a couple of minutes later. So that was a huge turning point, is just losing both of those key summoner spells. Put them in a really tough position for the rest of the early game and into the mid and later stages of the game. That's the big thing. We need to make sure that Dignitas have the discipline not to go for overextensions.
Yeah, and especially I do wonder, does the Viego still take precedence for FlyFam, seeing maybe something change up in the jungle portion of things? But especially as you said, kind of pulling together a little bit of the strat. I actually liked the Senatom Kench. I wonder if they opt back into that, and if we get, actually I'm looking now, we actually don't get a side swap here, so we'll see if they utilize that red side a little bit more. But I do believe we are ready for picks and bans for our second game. Let's see if FlyFam can deliver us a series, guys.
I hope so. I mean, I always like to talk about the second seed curse. It almost happened in Game 1, but then Spawn said, no, that is not happening. We are winning this game, and got them into this position where now they're just one game away from denying the second seed curse from happening and knocking down FlyFam into the lower bracket. As you can see, the bans in the second game, the second Second part of our best of 3. Nothing changing so far. And honestly, I wouldn't expect much to change.
No, I do think it is worth bringing up the stat that you're kind of talking about with Lunasia's Jax, and that, what was it, 4 of their 5 wins all featured
3 of their 4
Jax?
wins.
3 of their 4. You know, all but 1 of their wins did in fact have Lunasia on this character, and now as we start looking at the upcoming game, once again the Ashe is still available, and Dignitas are not going to be shying away from that one. We did see Annie and...
It was Annie and Senna.
Senna here,
Yep.
yeah. And I would not
I'm
be
expecting the
surprised.
Senna, but I might expect the Cho'Gath here instead.
I think the Cho'Gath is very good here if you are able to pick up, just because it is so flexible, and if you're going to be... if you're locking the Annie into the mid lane, it doesn't have value as a threat to flex, right? It does not really go a whole lot with the Senna in the bottom lane, and I definitely feel as though the Cho'Gath as a denial pick will give you a ton of tools, and also one of the best tanks that now Dignitas now need to find a way to actually chew through themselves. And Ashe can do it a little bit better on 13.5 than they could on previous patches, but it even asks for a higher damage AD carry, or maybe something in the mid lane from Insanity that will do more consistent DPS.
And I'm curious to see what Insanity wants to play. Insanity has a champion Ocean as a player. This is something we didn't really get to talk too much during the split on. This player, because he has played for quite some time and has had his stint in the LCS before, he knows how to play so many different champions so well as well. Like, you look at the last year's playoffs, right? Last season in summer, when he played LeBlanc in Game 3 and single-handedly won his team that game. And I don't think he had played more than like 2 games of LeBlanc that entire split as well. It was something like ridiculous like that, where he was just able to pop off on a champion like that. So I'm looking at what they want to grab for them. It looks like they're going to hold off and instead cement that we get a lot of poke in this bot lane with Sivir and Ashe.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the Ezreal come through last game, but it is very hard for an Ezreal to be the primary damage going up against something like a Cho'Gath, because you don't get as much crit on the Ezreal builds these days. But we do, in fact, see the Sivir come through, who on 2-3 items will be able to start dealing with the major tank that is going to be this Cho'Gath in the game. And now that Annie comes through once again, it is much more heavily implied there's going to be a Senna Cho'Gath, but that's the beauty of picking these champions relatively early on. You don't know. This Cho'Gath can still go towards the top lane. It's much less likely to go towards the mid lane, but I've even heard rumors that it can be played in the jungle.
Yes, it can. It actually can be played very well, dependent on what your opponent is, of course. Like, you don't want to play that up against like a Lee Sin, or even a Wukong could be a little bit dicey on if you want to play that in the jungle or not. And I'm looking at what they want to get for Hyper. That Viego still stands out to me. He did a great job in it last game, even if he did get caught out that one time. He was able to utilize that from, after level 6 to really find those resets to help out the team and set up a lot of plays further on.
Yeah. And then we see Narban come through as well. Now the question here is it going to be Viego or Vi? It is the Vi ban coming through very quickly for Dignitas. And so I'm expecting another Viego to be coming out here for Hyper. They actually had a pretty good game on it last time around. The only other question is going to be what the counter pick will be. Probably for Lunasia, but possibly for Sword as their last pick. Whereas Dignitas, they still need to determine what else they're going to be playing in the mid lane and in the top lane, as FlyF, they're deciding to go with the Nocturne, actually.
Oh man, Nocturne. Okay, was not expecting that.
I was not either. I mean, that's a really cool combination coming out with Blaze's Annie, right? One of the things that people don't talk about enough with Nocturne is the setup that it provides for big flanks, 4 big opportunities to jump on people unawares, because all the wards and bushes don't work anymore. You can't see them, and so this gives Blaze huge opportunities. But Insanity, going back to one of his classic champions, is going to be the Veigar coming through there, and that puts a big stop to things like the Cho'Gath in particular. Easy to stack off of, easy to keep out of the fight, and now, whoa!
I know, this is getting wild.
Okay, that makes way more sense. I know Hoon would love to play the Jace, but Jace is so utter garbage into Cho'Gath, and if there's like a Nocturne on the field, it doesn't really get to play the game. So there's going to be a Cassante once again for Hoon, and we'll see what it is that Lunasia does want to play into that. I would not be surprised if they got something new here. They played Renekton last time.
Camille.
It's going to be the Camille.
So Camille, back in week 1, for FlyFam when they got that split series against the LG Faith. It was based off of Lunacia on Camille and how dominant he was in the lane phase into a Cassante. He knows how to play this matchup very well, and so this could be the time when we see it turned around, where Lunacia's like, all right, Hoon, you solo killed me last game, now it's my turn to solo kill you.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a very cool opportunity for Lunacia, but even more than looking for solo kills, which would be awesome, we only got one of them last game, I'm hoping for a couple more this game, is the insane dive potential that FlyFam's top side of the map has altogether, right? Blaze can't go quite as far, but they can be the crucial setup for Spawn, Diamond, and Sandy to go down. Lunacia and Hyper can always get towards the back line, and the peel from the rest of the Dignitas squad is not great, so Sandy, Spawn, and Diamond are very heavily encouraged to stand on top of each other, which makes them more vulnerable to anti-stuns.
And Cho'Gath ruptures as well. There's a lot that you're now vulnerable to from FlyFam, but FlyFam are still a team that are down in the series. Backs up against the wall. It is do or die time for our 15th seed, the provisional squad, all grouped together. Possibly looking for a little bit of shenaniganeries, but they will spot out that Spawn. Rotating up.
Solo invade.
Yeah, that would be risky. That'd be very risky, but okay, Dignitas, I see you. I see you.
Yeah. They, just chilling out. Spawn does that quite often, looking for mana flow band or like first strike or, whatever stacks you can get off the very beginning of the game. Now, I do want to say this is going to be an interesting opportunity. Sword was a mid laner a long time before they were the support that they have been playing for. I believe they're in their second year at this point.
I believe so.
Yeah, playing as a support role. But one of the big things about Instinct is they are kind of similar to Spawn, but I would say like a year behind in a lot of ways, right, in terms of where their career growth has actually gone. Spawn has been a player who has been very good at winning a lot of these 80% fights, where you're 80% likely to win, you're maximizing your damage there, you're not under a ton of threat. You do a fantastic job in a lot of those situations, and I feel as though Instinct on this Senna is perfectly set up to really contribute to those kind of fights. But the thing that'll be difficult for both these guys is actually taking some of these more chaotic fights where they are under pressure and maximizing their damage there.
We're curious to see that. I mean, for Dignitas Challengers, I also kind of want to talk about the difference this draft shows from what we were talking about before on how they've won a lot of their games this season. A lot of it has been on how dominant they have been in the lane phase. And while they do have some strong lanes, like we look at bot lane here, you have the double range. It's hard for a set of Cho'Gath early on to deal with them. This is still a lot more scaling on their side. Whenever you have a Sivir who wants 3 items, Vigar as well, these champions want to get further into the game.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to put a pause on that one because it was barrier popped by Diamond.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing that I was looking at is the amount of extra damage that Spawn is getting from these ricochets bouncing between both of the champions. Getting an extra, like, nearly double damage effectively every time he goes for an auto attack, just based on the number of times they are bouncing. But there's a lot of sustain built into this FlyFam bottom lane. Whenever Sword actually last hits a minion, that's a little bit of mana, a little bit of HP back, and of course Instinct also has that heal built into the kit. At the same time, we're low health lanes.
Okay, Lunacia gets bounced back. He has the shield, surviving a little bit longer. The flash in from Hoon, not first blood, but still first solo kill. What am I saying?
Not a solo kill, but still first blood coming out.
There we go. That's the words I'm trying to say in that order.
We figured it out. We figured it out. Still, very exciting stuff already coming out for Hoon. Getting that first blood up in the top side. There's no flash for Lunacia, and XU takes full advantage of it this time. I was looking for that kind of play last game to make sure that Hoon could actually get the wave underneath the turret. But look at this. Hyper trying to turn it around.
Into the top lane. Looking for a little bit of assistance there. Hoon smart on the call, though, the flash in. There's no flash from Hoon, and so he's feared. Dashing back. He had the shield surviving. No, he lives, and Lunacia is the one who dies.
26 solo kills for Hoon. Ties a menace. Not in the regular season, but over the course of the spring split. Let's go. Hoon currently are #1, tied for solo kills, and now Hyper has to walk towards the mid lane, see if they can do anything there, because that second death for Lunacia is brutal. We were saying that Dignitas is normally up 2,000 by 15 minutes. They're already up 700-800 at only 4.
I was even talking about it. It's like, oh, this competition from Dignitas doesn't really need to do as much early. They have scaling on their side, and then Hoon's like, all right, I'll get a gank from XU, and then somehow get a solo kill against Lunacia as they overstep their welcome and take a bit too many turret shots.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing here, Hoon does a really good job trying to nullify as much of this crowd control as possible without being unstoppable. And then the range that you get the shield with this is so nuts. Unfortunately, it was Lunacia who started tanking. And because the whole game started with Hoon just like knocking him back a little bit, ends up dying. And great stuff from Hoon. Already gets the wave in the top side, and now he's looking for a gank mid lane. This is a Joshi gank if I've ever seen it.
This is looking nice. The baby cage put down, gets the flash out of Blaze.
Great stuff. Yeah, Rafa knows this. A couple of my other friends would know this too.
I played with you, I know.
Yeah, if I'm top lane, I just randomly show up mid lane sometimes. They're like, hey, yeah, see if we can go for a gank here. They're taking away some of these camps, and look at that. Who knows? He still has time to go top lane. He hasn't lost a single wave from all the time he has spent coming down towards the mid lane, helping out his team, and picking up this Raptor camp. This is great stuff. Hoon is already having a much different game than game one.
The fact that he gets an early solo kill, a nice gank too, really helping out. Gonna set up a lot for Dignitas Challengers through the top lane to win out, because Lunacia has been a player that we've praised many times for FlyFam and how well he's played into a lot of these veteran players that have far more experience on a competitive stage. But this is also where that can kind of bite you in the butt a bit, because you don't have as much experience. You're now playing from behind a lane where you needed to stay even or even slightly ahead. If you want to stay relevant, you no longer can look for those 1v1 fights against Hoon. It's going to require so much attention from Hyper to be in this top lane.
Yeah, it's not ridiculous for Hoon to actually potentially win that 1v2 if Lunacia and Hyper were to actually go for the fight. But it is definitely a situation where we will see how FlyQuest can actually try and bounce back in this situation, because as you called out, it is a very tough position to be in for younger teams in particular, just because when you bounce back, when you actually have such a strong game one against one of the best teams in the league, and then you come back, it's like, okay, we're pumping yourself up, we can do this, and then that happens. It's a morale shattering event. It is so difficult to actually try and come back, and so I already like the fact that it looks as though Hyper is still moving with the rest of the team to say, hey, let's try and make some things happen at least a little bit. We can't just go out with a whimper. We gotta go out with a bang. But as you said, like, there's a lot of scaling left for Dignitas. This is still a team that will have problems for FlyFam later on, so they have to try and find their plays soon. Hyper is gonna hit level 6 off of this blue buff, and they need to start looking for ults almost immediately.
It's also hard when you're up against a scaling team and you fall behind early against said scaling team, because it just gets worse from then on out, where you're playing catch up.
There it is.
And you're looking for these plays, and even if you get the fear onto one, I love this play from Insanity. How he rotates around and say, all right, there's not really much they can do. Blaze is too low. No, Hoon fighting up against Lunacia, flashing under the wall, and with the all-out 2, the shield trying to save Lunacia's life, but all Hoon had to do was wait it out for yet another solo blow, and guess who's #1 in solo kills?
That's it. That's Hoon. 27 now on the board. The flash ult coming through from Hoon. Great stuff to make sure Lunacia had nowhere left to go.
And now bot lane, Vaughn and Diamond playing very aggressively against Instinct and Sword, getting Instinct very low, so he's not going to be able to stay in this lane at all. He'll do his best to heal up with Piercing Darkness, but all it takes is one good arrow from Diamond, and the damage that Spawn can provide with the Boomerang Blade and the Ricochet, you're going to fall.
There should be at least a plate going over towards the Dignitas bottom lane. There's not a lot of mana left, especially on Instinct. He's got, maybe 2 heals still left to put out, but this is much closer to the Dignitas that we were expecting going into the series. The Instinct taken relatively low there as well, but this is a lot closer, like we were saying, to what we were expecting. Dignitas blitzes teams early on in the game, and now that all of their lanes are winning, top lane, Hoon's gotten 2 solo kills. He's only needed an assist on one of them. The bottom lane is also ahead, despite how strong people have been saying that this bottom lane can be. You have to be aggressive with it. Now XU's here.
Blaze is dead. You're not getting out of that one. The baby cage locked in place, and that's going to be more stacks for Insanity.
He just gets the auto laugh come through, man. David, when he gets ahead, is so scary to play against. Insanity was, again, one of the people that we were looking at. If you could conclude his Proving Grounds performance last year, was on our potential list for most valuable prospect. And now, I mean, I feel as though if we were only taking the first 5 weeks, I think it would have been the conversation. Unfortunately, after getting sick and having that slump towards week 6 and 7, he kind of fell off for a lot of people in consideration. But that's not saying he's been bad. It's just saying that, you know, he's been playing an uncharacteristic game. This feels a lot closer to the week 5 Insanity that we had grown to know and love.
Yes. As well as the playoff buffs, the Proving Ground strong Insanity that we saw all of last year. This guy is really good, especially when you put him in clutch scenarios. How he can play for his team, set himself up for success. A gank that happened mid lane, I mean, you could even argue that XU wasn't fully needed for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a lot of damage coming through, and now we do see FLYF. They're trying to do something in. They're going to try and give Sword this feast over, but it's still on cooldown. They do end up grabbing it at the very end, so good timing on that. But FLYF, they're still trying to find something coming in. But this turret is not going to be long for this world, I can't imagine.
But this is something I love about FlyFam and why I'll always try to root for them, even in dire scenarios right here where they're up against one of the best teams we have in the LCS Challengers League. Is because even when behind, they always still look for plays. They never just give up. They don't roll over and be like, all right, the game's over. Like Lunacia, he already died once to the solo kill out of Hoon, yet he still looked for the fight, trying to utilize the tower in order to get that damage back onto Hoon. He's not going to give up. This is how FlyFam play. And maybe that could help him out in this game, but it is very difficult for them to bounce back when you have a 3-0 Cassante top lane.
Yeah. Yeah, the 3-0 Cassante is already looking for these proxy farming opportunities at this point. I remember watching Concept going for it. Now they're just trying to find Sword.
Sword got tagged by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but he had minions to heal up with, as well as Instinct. So it's just going to be the cooldown blown from Diamond. Not really going to gain anything from it, except possibly the lane Prio, so they can invade Hyper and control this Nocturne, who's only been able to get one ult off, and sadly it didn't really amount to much.
Yeah, it didn't get much of anything, but as you're saying that, Alex, they do have another one coming up right now, and as soon as they have it up,
look at that, Insanity's here too. Even though Hyper wants to help out, look how low Instinct got. Thawning Shadow used early. The baby cage gets the stun as Instinct has to flash away. They pop Drift Herald and looking for the backline. They don't get anything, unfortunately, except for nice stun. Wait a minute, I gotta eat my words because they actually killed Spawn, getting a flash out of Insanity. Blaze, the hero to turn this one around as Insanity goes golden, but he dies to the double kill of Indy. Double rupture from Sword as XU and Diamond. They will survive, limping back towards their base, but FlyFam, the victors of the fight.
A great turnaround coming through. The teleport from Blaze, the ultimate coming out from Hyper, makes this dive almost impossible to actually go for. And Dignitas, I mean, they get punished in almost the exact same way they did last game, right? Insanity comes down now, and they try and leave, but XU once again slow on the actual escape. Ends up getting caught out, and now he doesn't get to contribute to this fight at all. It's just Blaze with the teleport, using the flash to get on top of this backline because they're grouped up because of the Nocturne ultimate.
Also, huge shoutouts to Sword. How many ruptures he landed in this fight to help set up Blaze for the double stuns, as well as get that damage out of Hyper. That Cho'Gath play right there. This proves why a lot of people have talked about how powerful this champion can be. When you land those ruptures, it is such a great setup for the rest of your team to follow through on.
Yeah. It's been great watching Sword actually play this, right? Having some more opportunities to be aggressive. Ooh.
Okay.
All right, he's fine.
He's fine. Yeah, he should be able to take this turret as well. Getting it so low, just got to hit it a couple more times with minions showing up. There's not really much Lunacy can do. The best that he could hope for was maybe moving Hoon out of the lane a little bit, but the turret's so low, Lunacia should recall, get out of there. Maybe look for a play elsewhere. It's mid lane. Blaze and Insanity just getting a little bit of damage on each other, but not much.
Not much. I wonder how many stacks our stackers are at. Right, because we have Instinct, we have Insanity. We're both stacking up quite a bit in order to try and scale into that later stage of the game. And Sword's a little bit harder to, like, I I don't want to say keep track of, you know.
I feel like it's easier. It's
a snowballing situation, right?
Well, it's also a smaller number. So it's easier to keep up with Sword.
Number small.
Yep. Much easier.
Number big.
But you can see the gold
big
lead.
Good.
I didn't know that the Cookie Monster also did numbers. I thought that was just a count.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's a freelancer. He moonlights as a counter, shall we say?
See, I thought I mean, only if he's counting cookies.
Counting cookies. We'll see what kind of C's are still left in this game for FlyFam. Don't know what a C actually means here, but we're going to see how many of them there are.
There
it is going to be Dignitas Challengers, still with a significant goal lead as we crest the 15-minute mark, and now his teams are starting to line up for the second dragon of the game. We don't see all of the completed items for everyone, but most people are on at least one. And Dignitas, they haven't quite yet hit a lot of their major spikes, and they really get big spikes around their second items.
I think we can see it now. The only ones that are lacking it are the supports. We got to quantify Instinct as a support as well, just with the fasting Senna build. So as you talked about, for Dignitas, they really would like to have those 2-item spikes to feel very powerful. But with Hoon being as strong as he is, all he has to do is show up into this mid lane. And FlyFam are like, yeah, we can't really fight against that. It's just going to be too difficult. We don't have that heal cut just yet, or even the shred to get through someone that tanky.
Yeah. It's also worth kind of noting right now that Sword is going with the hype as hell Rocket Belt build on the
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, it means that you can dash in and have a little bit of extra effective threat range on your feast. Make sure you can lock people down more effectively. It is a little bit lower damage than some of the other builds, but you know, that extra threat range, especially against how far back Insanity Spawn and Diamond are going to be playing, can be the difference between Sword participating, getting that damage down at all versus not actually doing anything. So we'll see how much Sword can actually get there, as we are seeing a bit of a swap. The Sword is going to be getting that solo experience, and the dive is getting set up in the bottom lane.
And for Insanity, but it's difficult to dive a Firegar. Baby Cage, a great tool to deny a lot of that. Now that's used, actually, they could reset. Hyper hanging around in the bot lane, but it looks like they want to peel back. A little worried of where the rest of the members of Dignitas Challengers are, because they don't have the best ward setup. They were able to spot out XZ top lane, but they don't know where Spawn or Diamond are.
Yeah. Oh, trying to stop him.
Oh, okay. Flashing in on it. Nicely done. Baby Cage used way too early. You got to use that not preemptively, but reactively.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of one of the things that we've been looking at Insanity. He's been making some weird decisions, and that was definitely one of them. Trying to pick off the one person without knowledge of whether or not everybody else had left. Very quickly finds out, oh, they are still right there around the corner, and the flash from Blaze is enough to pick him up. And Insanity, yeah, I mean, it's just a good play coming out from FlyFam to punish the overextension from Insanity, but now puts more pressure on the rest of the map, as Spawn, Diamond haven't really found a lead to play with. It really has been only Hoon who has skyrocketed into this game, and it's enough to really put Ludasa behind the timer, but eventually this Camille is going to be a threat no matter what.
Right. You can only do so much to put Camille behind. If the game drags out long enough, she'll get very powerful and be something that you can't really contend against in the side lane. Of course, being 3,000 gold behind at 18 minutes in the game means that that timer is pretty long. But mid lane, I kind of want to praise Blaze. But Blaze as a mid laner hasn't been someone a lot of people have been praising too much when it comes to the split. She has been someone towards the bottom of a lot of statistics. However, in a lot of their clutch moments for the team, he has actually been setting up a lot of big team fights, and how he has been with this Annie. Think last game, now this game, 3-1 on the champion. He is set up to be this person to get a lot of that attention and show why he was picked up by FlyFam in the first place.
Yeah, and one of the things that Blaze always does is, regardless of what the game state is, he is looking to do things, and that can be both to his benefit and to his detriment, as we do know that he does need to be one of the big playmakers this game in order to get that Tibbers down, get a lot of damage across And now he's got the damage to actually do it, right? One of the problems last game on this Annie was he was never going to be solo kill bursting out Spawn or Diamond or anyone like that. And in this one, once he gets that Rabadon's completed, he is actually a serious threat to all the backline members here for Dignitas as long as Blaze has his flash up.
Sword hit by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Even with the Rocket Belt, barely tanky. He's got a Giant's Belt. He's got, I think, 5 stacks on his feast now. He's actually in a much better spot and a lot easier for him to survive. But he's got to be careful using the Rocket Belt to get away from Hoon, realizing that Hoon is a threat.
You also got to be very aware of the fact that so many of these turrets have gone down as Insanity. Setting up for Exu.
They spotted him out. They look for Exu. They're turning onto the Monkey instead. They're going to burst him down, but they got to be careful because Diamond's on the other side, getting a little bit of damage as they poke him down. Blaze, no flash available. Baby Cage put down, tries to get the stun on the Spawn, but Spawn using spell shield, so both of them will fall into the double kill of the Marksman.
Double kill going over for Spawn. Great attack coming through from Dignitas. Noting that they can still go forward through that brush because all of the abilities have already been used. There is no threat left from FLYF. No ultimate from Hyper was available. Lunacia does get this bottom lane turret, and so the gold lead remains about the same. But with another dragon spawning relatively soon, Spawn is already on 2 items completed. That's the Navori coming through, and those 2 kills potentially paying off huge for this upcoming fight.
Do you like this turn from FlyFam? This situation, they're dead, no matter
Kill
what.
the monkey.
So, kill the monkey, at least get something back for the team, because you're both going to fall with 4 members being there, and one of them being Vigar.
Yeah. And you have to make sure you try and get something back in return, right? At least they get 1, but that's going to be an ultimate expended from Blaze. He will not have the flash. He will not have the tippers available for this upcoming dragon. So it should be a relatively clean pickup here for Dignitas if they're doing everything else correctly. You notice that FlyFam isn't even walking over towards that side of the map. And they, yeah, exactly. They should really be looking for anything here. Question is, what else can they get? Hyper is going to potentially try and take away some camps.
Get some camp taken away, possibly get a little bit more gold onto Lunacia's. Even getting a bit of a play there on Insanity, getting down to 50%, but with reinforcements for Dignitas Challengers, you do have to fall back. But again, FlyFam, this is why I always praise this team. They always look for these plays, and they constantly try to put pressure back, even when they're behind. This game, being at about 2,000 gold in the hole. Nice spell shield there from Hyper, by the way. But even 2,000 gold behind, with a lot of that being onto the tanky member of Hoon, they're still looking for these plays elsewhere. They're saying, we got to find leads from other members, possibly killing Insanity. If they can kill Spawn, now that he has a little bit of a bounty on his head as well, that will set up a lot for FlyFam when it comes up to the next dragon fight.
We'll see whether that's going to be enough. He has a flash ult.
Okay, Diamond taking a lot of damage, but Dawning Shadow doesn't pick up the kill. It's going to be the flash away from Diamond, so Diamond survives and Blaze dies. Bit unfortunate as Hoon, nice double knock of that damage. He did the instinct as well. Gonna force back FlyFam. Rupture comes out of Sword. He wants that Devour. He wanted to feast Hoon so he could get shut down, but now he put himself in danger, and the monkey doesn't need to get the kill because Spawn got it.
Just barely out of range. Sword wasn't able to get the feast down. That's the difference between him getting a kill and dying. That's a big shutdown on Hoon's head. But Lunacia on the other side will at least be able to pick up another turret. That's 2 kills effectively going back into Lunacia's pockets. But the Baron is the big prize here for Dignitas.
They got that down to 50%. There's even a TP coming in from Insanity to deny that turret from being taken. So everything picked up by Dignitas, not trading anything as Hoon, 1v2, almost was able to get Hyper as well.
Yeah, the fear into the root, enough to prevent Hoon from going back in, but good catch on the TP from Insanity to prevent the bottom lane turret from actually going down, saving his team a lot of effective gold. Lunacia, I wonder if he can actually beat Insanity in these upcoming fights, right? That's the big thing about this Camille, is it is entirely as useful as it is at assassinating single targets. Whether or not it's able to participate in the side lane is a nice bonus. But right now, I don't know if Lunacia and Hyper have the damage between them to actually kill anyone. Blaze started the game 3-1. Now he's 3-3.
But he has gotten that Rabadon Seth cap completed. They were struggling to get that in the inventory. You see the gold still. About 3,000 between Hoon and Lunacia. And Hoon, nobody is near him on this team. He's even able to look for a duel against Blaze because he realizes with Death Cap, you're still 3,000 gold behind me.
I can still do whatever I want. It kind of doesn't matter what you want. And so overall, we're seeing Dignitas. They're now able to shift into a situation where Insanity's going to be pushing out the bottom lane. They have control of this bottom side of the map. And FlyFam, they have to take the safe rotation every single time in order to try and look for these opportunities. It gives Dignitas so much freedom to choose what lane they want to play in.
Arrow and Baby Cage getting a long stun on a sword, but he's pretty tanky and using the paranoia into the backline to get the flash out of Insanity. Lunacia is nearby, wants to re-engage. That's going to be the Cyclone. They've got a lot of damage, but they've lost their engage Annie. XU could fall, but they just need him. He's able to get out of there. Hookshot away from Lunacia's Hoon. Wants to get into the fight, and he targets Sword. Another kill for Spawn. Unstoppable from the LCS to the Challengers League. This guy has been performing here in playoffs.
And the difference in these fights, Alex, of Blaze having flash versus not is killing FlyFam so far. Dignitas know there's no threat onto their backline. Lunacia and Hyper aren't strong enough to do it on their own. And it's going to open up another inhibitor trade. This game is looking so similar to the way it was looking to end last game. Dignitas with the Baron. Can they open up another inhibitor? Can they look to end the game while it's Delve this buff?
Blaze has spawned, Sword soon to get up as well. Both of them with TPs. It would be a very risky play for them to look for anything. Spot out Hoon, recalling right there, but it looks like the rest of Dignitas Challengers have completely bailed from the fight.
Yeah, well, it's still 8,000 gold lead. It looked like a very chaotic start to this one, right? Hyper is already trying to go for the ultimate onto Insanity, but he finds his way towards the rest of his friends, and once that's down, look at where Blaze is. He's trying to find his way into the fight, but no flash, can't find his way to Spawn, can't find his way to Insanity, just gets blown up instantly. And even though XU is barely getting out with no HP at all, Insanity still has opportunities to go for these big stuns and knocking them into it. Hoon is there to back him up.
Hoon, this player, last year didn't get a fair shake. He joined in, had a very rough situation with Dignitas having to split time with the Academy squad and then the LCS as well as showing up to the season a little bit late from visa issues. But this season, we have seen the power of why Dignitas have had so much faith in him. From the mean of Hunan time to this game alone, where he sure got that first blood kill gifted to him by XU, but ever since then, it has all been on his own and how he's played this game to get extra leads on Lunacia to become our #1 player with solo kills in the entire season of Spring.
Likely to retain that title so far. I mean, Dignitas will probably go relatively far in this event. There will be plenty of other top laners to try and solo kill, but Dignitas, they're not trying to end this game. They have another dragon they can go pick up if they want to, but I don't even think that they really need to. It would only be as a bit of an insurance policy to make sure that they have another fallback win condition. Dignitas, I mean, this is the great thing. They're looking for Blaze.
Oh, Blaze wanted to clear out the minions. Bolt and Shield does give a little bit of movement speed, but not away from the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and that explosive Primordial Burst takes him down as Piper. He showed up to fight too late. The party is not yours to be had. It is Dignitas celebrating, looking for the dive to cement a 2-0 against you, even flashing for a lot of these plays so they can topple yet another structure of yours.
And everything from FlyFam is starting to fall down. Lunacia is alive, but he cannot sync up with Hyper anymore for the upcoming fight. The ultimate will not be there. Another inhibitor goes down, and now, I mean, Dignitas, I said they're going to try and end on the previous one. Even though they've been much more dominant, the game time looking to be very similar between the first game and the second game. And Alex, while we do have to praise FlyFam a little bit for some of the growth that we've seen throughout these early games, it is important to note that there's still a lot of work left for this team to do. I hope they have an opportunity to play some stronger games in what is looking to be their next round. Because, while Dignitas will never have to play in a promotion relegation tournament, FlyFam has that now looming on the horizon once they get knocked into the lower bracket.
Well, they have it looming on the horizon even if they win the series. Because you never know, with a double elimination, what teams make a deep run who got knocked down. We have Wildcard in the lower bracket who could easily make that deep run. Cincinnati Fear are still in the upper bracket with their victory yesterday over Evil Geniuses Challengers. AoE, lower bracket as well, but Again, a team that we could easily see make a deep run. So for FlyFam, every single series matters. No matter what. This one right here, it might be behind, but the game is not over. Not by any means, not just yet. Not until the Nexus falls, Josh, will this game end. So
Technically correct.
Technically correct, but FlyFam, you know, there are miracles to be had. You could always hope for a miracle.
Oh,
and
there's one.
this could be one of them.
There's
We talked about the Baron steals. Hyper gets it, but now the rest of the team has to survive with it. Double kills over to XU, looking for Lunasi as well as he puts down the ultimatum, but dies to Hoon again. And with only Instinct and Instinct and Blaze left, they have to defend the base against 5 members of Dignitas. The Baron could help a little bit. Dawning Shadows, double kill for Instinct. This is the miracle you need. You got the Baron, you have the damage. Diamond kiting back Hoon and Spawn as well to clear out these Baron up minions. Even Timber is used just to show her face and die initially. But with all that damage Spawn does, one structure topples, the next one with minions here. Instinct and Blaze, okay, what just happened?
No, not like this.
Not like this. No, no,
Not
no,
like
no,
this.
no, 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 no.
What? What?
Okay. All right, well, FlyFam, look for the re-engage as Hyper. Oh no, was it the DC bait? It was the DC bait. He thought they were gone. He got baited in, and now they can kite this back. Sword getting away, but we have 3 items on Spawn. You can't get near him anymore.
That is the funniest unintentional BM I have ever seen. I've never seen that. They all disconnect as the game is potentially ending. They try and turn it around and Hyper dies again. Oh my god, that's hilarious, right? Because the thing is, you can't call a pause if you're disconnected. That's why we had no pause coming through. Oh my god, Alex, I've never seen anything like that at this level.
Neither have I. That is a first, and I think that explains why we were so thrown off. Arrow, field goal is there. Goes right between everybody as another inhibitor falls. Only one exposed here in the bot lane. Could easily be taken by Dignitas. You gotta be careful still. All 5 members back up by both teams. There's a Guardian's Angel for Lunacid to look for an engage, but Dignitas playing this one cleanly. Just go down to the bot lane, realize that they have so much power that there's not much that FlyFam can do outside of another miracle.
The only hope that Blaze has is this flash. They need to be aggressive with it. They need to find at least 2 of Insanity, Spawn, and Diamond. And now that they have the flash, it's possible. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but that is what FlyFam are playing for at this point in the game.
Run, Blaze. Get out of there. You don't want to be anywhere near that. I know you're trying to clear out the minion waves. You still have the Baron to help out a little bit. But it is difficult as there's double super minions from every lane, Josh. And there's one crazy play already. There could be a second one. They go to the back line. They're on top of Spawn, but he has so much damage, and even in the stopwatch with the Rupture happening, Lunacia tries to help out, but they've lost their knockdown. The flash in from Insanity. Baby Cage locks them in the pit, and FlyFam! They tried, they hoped, they dreamed, but Dignitas Challengers will not be cursed and take down FlyFam 2-0 to move on in the winner's bracket.
Oh, and Hoon ends up ruining his KDA at the very end. But, I mean, honestly, I guess that is what we learned. You do need a little bit more than family in order to, you know, fight everything in life, despite what our wise monk Vin Diesel has to say. It is going to be Dignitas Challengers moving on. This was the expected result going into today. But we had some very exciting moments throughout that whole thing.
Yes, we did.
5-man disconnect, some cool plays coming through from FlyFam. FlyFam has shown quite a bit of growth over the last couple of weeks. Hopefully that's enough to continue showcasing what they can do, to continue improving, and to hopefully do well in the upcoming opportunities in the lower bracket in a potential relegation tournament.
I mean, that's always what you have to train for. When you get knocked down into the lower bracket, it is now single elimination. No longer have that buffer anymore. A loss there means most likely you're going to be fighting in the relegation tournament for these provisional teams. But we're going to toss it to a break, and when we come back, we'll bring back Mazel to interview the support of Dignitas Challengers. It's Diamond. We'll be on the line, so make sure you stay tuned.
Welcome back to the Verizon post-game interview. I'm joined by the victorious support Dignitas Challengers Diamond in his new home, feeling confident and comfortable. Speaking of that new home, though, Diamond, heard there was a little bit of finickiness. We saw what happened. Everybody DC'd. You're standing there in front of an almost open Nexus. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, so usually we have a sensor in the room, so if people are moving, we don't lose power, basically. And like if there's no one in the office, then
Energy
the power
saver
will go out.
thing.
Yes, basically, we're serving the energy. I think that's y'all know how it goes. So like usually our games end before 20 minutes, so we don't fill the sensor, you know. But this time somehow, I don't know, somehow something happened and the game went past 20 minutes, so we lost power. So sucks. We should have ended faster, but other than that, it was fine.
How did you make the game-saving play? You were telling me the game-saving pause. What happened?
The game-saving pause is animation cancel, getting up, and writing pause. I did this to the sensor, then I / pause, and I was the one that actually paused the game somehow. So it was crazy combo actually to get the pause in, so we don't all die.
Real life
saved my whole
animation
team.
cancel.
Yeah, it was actually I saw ulted my team there.
Oh, goodness. Well, hey, we'll see if they can get those power situations figured out. But the run begins now in the upper bracket for you, Diamond. What do you feel like the biggest strength of your team is coming in, especially with Dignitas looking so good in this one?
I think we don't have like a weak spot really in the team. We have like 5 solid players, so we can play to top, we can play to bot and mid. Like we have players that want to flex everything, that just want to play anything they want. So we don't really have any like weakness going to a draft. Like we can play everything. So I think that's our strength.
Okay. And did you guys change anything in terms of like the way you prep for a series, coming into the new patch, maybe some strategic approaches that you guys change outside of game?
Not really. I mean, yes and no. I think what happened with us is like for the past couple of weeks is that we had a lot of like really like unfortunate events that happened like back to back like the past 2 weeks. Like we went 2 into I think like 3 weeks in a row, but I think we're just like really tilted because one day we lost power at the office like for a whole neighborhood because it was raining, and then next week the same thing happened, so we lost power again, so we had to play at Riot. Thanks for Riot for hosting us, but we had to play at Riot, so we were on different setup. My jungle didn't have his mouse, and like all that stuff like kind of sucks. And then the next week we were all sick, so it was rain into sick combo. So like that we went like we split all our games. Obviously it's an excuse because we played shit anyways, like whatever, but yeah, that sucked for us, and that made us kind of go downhill a bit. But after that, like this week, we had a really good week of practice. I think we smashed everyone in scrims, like every team. Like basically we have like 90% winner in scrims.
Wow.
Make fun of everyone. So
A little bit of dancing on the graves.
Yeah, we're just dancing on them, like the little like do the coffin. That's us. That's us in scrims.
There you go.
You know how it goes.
Now, there is a bit of a change for you, obviously, having Spawn integrate back into the roster. You were looking so good with Tomo. While you guys did look good today, and you have looked good since Spawn coming to the roster, how has the change kind of been for you when you and Tomo were riding so high?
Yeah, we're looking a bit too good, so they had to steal my carry. But, you know how it goes. I mean, I think Trevor Spawn, or those I don't know, like, saying. I know the pro players like that.
He's his first name, no big deal.
I know pro players like that,
friends.
but yeah, Trevor is a good player. I think he just had like a bad start. I think I went to a similar situation as him, like the first time in LCS, and I think he didn't have his support for a while, and like it hurt him a lot too, because he had to switch support and he didn't really get to like play the lanes the way he wanted to. So
yeah,
I think it made him go behind. But my strength as a player is that I can help players like feel more confident. I'm good at getting people, just like making them want to like trade and play like aggressive. So that's what I'm doing with Trevor, and I think he's really good at it. So actually, I think he's a lot better than people give him credit for. So I hope we can change that narrative going forward, and maybe another team still might new DC again.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe cross your fingers on that one. Not let that happen to you. But I will say, Dignitas made the run last year. They fell just short in the finals. You have joined us consecutively on the PG desk in the finals, not being able to make it there yourself. Now, what are you doing to make sure there's a difference? You coming into Dignitas, it's already seen a difference, but now in this run for playoffs, are you doing something different, or are you making sure that your presence is felt on the map?
I mean, it just depends on how good my team is, right? Or like how much I can make an impact by myself. But I think it's like a result of like everything from before. So like we showed really well in the season. We like our practice went really well. I think we have good players. I think we can finish it. Hopefully we can finish it well, something bad happens, we still have another split to like pick it up. And for me, like, I just want to play the best I can and make sure that my team's having fun. So as long as we've been doing that.
Well, you guys look good having fun, I gotta say. Now, somebody who's having really fun, I'll get to the last question here. Hoon is the solo kill king now for NACL. He has surpassed Dignitas. Are you guys hyping him up in chat? Is he screaming his head off when he's getting these kills? Like, what's going on up there?
What Hoon does is like he plays him like, wow, Hoon solo kill, wow, solo bolo, and he's like, yeah, this guy pig, I'm not good, this guy pig. I'm like, good job, Hoon. I thought you all.
That's too good. I need a voice recording of that, man.
and then Hoon, like this morning, we were like all eating before a match, and I was like, oh, I go to the kitchen. I'm like, oh, Hoon has McDonald's. As a big fry, as a burger, it's like, oh, you're eating McDonald's before the match? And then he's like, and I look, he has like a frap too from like, because we get like coffee orders from our team. I was like, yeah, frap on top of it, 7,000 calories before match. Wow, good job, Hoon.
It's for those flexes, man.
Yeah, it's like that's crazy. That's just crazy.
That is.
Meanwhile, it's like, the rest of us trying to eat healthy and stuff, and like I see Hoon just like, I'm like,
who's showing you all up?
Gap. This is top gap.
It absolutely is. Now I want to give you one last little bit. Give any shout outs you have here before I let you go, man.
Shout out to my team. Shout out to the boys. Shout out to Losing Power. Shout out to James Bakery for fixing the internet, fixing the power after the game because I was complaining about it. We fixed it. No more sensors. Life is good. We're not saving the planet anymore because we're against FlyQuest next.
No more technology.
They will save the planet when we kick them out. And yeah, I'm looking forward to beating both FlyQuest teams after they kick me. Sounds good.
All right. It sounds like a wonderful story to have in our little anime arc opening. Thank you so much, Dime. It's always a pleasure to get to chat with you. I am going to send it away to a little break here while we do get ready for our second series of the day. Don't go anywhere.
With the end of the regular season rapidly approaching, it's time for us to start talking about our Most Valuable Prospect Award. Remember, in order to be eligible, you need to have played at least 5 of the 7 weeks of the regular season. Additionally, the Most Valuable Prospect is awarded to the player that we have faith will garner their team the most wins should they be promoted to LCS over the next calendar year and the year after that. However, Unforgiven is too good. It's disingenuous for us to call the LEC First All-Pro AD Carry a prospect. In a developmental league, this guy is already developed. However, let's still talk about some of our other frontrunners.
Alright, let's talk about M&S. He's still leading the league in solo kills and has shown in LCS that he's ready for that level. But that's the thing, he's already playing in LCS. The Most Valuable Prospect is first and foremost a developmental award, so we made the decision to remove M&S from consideration due to his current role in LCS for Cloud9.
To no one's surprise, Mirror's made a big splash in the LCS Challengers League and is one of our frontrunners for Most Valuable Prospect. Mirror's leading all junglers in gold difference at 15, along with XP difference at 15, and is also leading junglers in first blood percentage, as half of the first bloods that TL challengers have been through a Mirror kill or assist, while he's only been the victim of one once. Mirror's early game presence has been phenomenal. The game plans are sound with TLC, but also Mirror's mechanics at later stages of the game have proven that he can be a jungler that is even someone to be feared in a meta that is not necessarily his, looking at what he's played in the past.
Masu came out of nowhere last summer, and despite it being his first split of competitive play, he showed great mechanics and confidence. This year, he's looking even better, going toe-to-toe with some of the best marksmen we have in Challengers League, while spending the majority of the split on 100+ ping. That nickname Wi-Fi Wizard was not a joke. Since physically joining FlyQuest Challengers, he's looking better than ever, and with the growth he's shown in this short amount of time, the next few years are looking bright for him.
My MVP frontrunner for the 2023 NACL Spring Split season is none other than 100 Thieves Challengers jungler Yukino. If you need stunning plays, a brilliant mind, and that improvement mindset that'll take you to the top, this is your guy. He might be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but he'll come steal your lunch money.
Who'd we miss? Let us know on Twitter with #NACL.